President Granger disappointed with withdrawal of CARICOM team tasked with overseeing national recount, and Ministry of Public Health empowered to take strong measures to prevent and control the spread of COVID-19. It's Wednesday, March 18. We have lots to tell you. Thanks for joining us. His Excellency David Granger has expressed disappointment in the withdrawal of the high-level 5-member CARICOM observer team, which was tasked with overseeing GCOM's national recount of votes cast in March 2, 2020 general and regional elections.
The independent high-level team is chaired by the former Attorney General and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Dominica, Francine Barron, and comprises of former Minister of Finance of Grenada, Anthony Botswain, Senior Lecturer in the Department of Government of the University of the West Indies, Cynthia Barrow-Giles, Chief Electoral Officer of Barbados, Angela Taylor, and Chief Elections Officer of Trinidad and Tobago, Fern Narcissus Scope. President Granger noted that the initiative was embraced as it was based on an understanding that a recount of the ballots cast at the March 2, 2020 general and regional elections would be executed. The initiative saw the arrival of a high-level team of 5 distinguished Caribbean professionals to oversee the process. The team, unfortunately, was unable to commence its task. The Supreme Court of the Judiciary granted an injunction filed by a citizen on 17th of March 2020, thereby preventing the Elections Commission and its agents from proceeding with the total national recount. End of quote. According to the head of state, the court action has curtailed further the trust towards reaching a transparent conclusion to the 2020 general and regional elections. The matter will be heard in the Supreme Court on March 20, 2020. President Granger maintained that he will abide by the decisions of the court and the Guyana Elections Commission. He stated, quote, "I iterate my commitment to the due completion of all electoral requirements and the conclusion of the process under the auspices of the Commission and in the interest of all Guyanese. I assure the nation that I remain committed to the electoral process and to the declaration of results by the Elections Commission in accordance with the law." End of quote. For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
Meanwhile, the head of state on Tuesday approved a raft of measures under the Public Health Ordinance empowering the Public Health Ministry to take strong measures to prevent and control the spread of COVID-19 in Guyana.
The document, which was gazetted on Wednesday morning, empowers Public Health Minister Honorable Valda Lawrence to take measures to restrain, segregate, and isolate persons suffering from the disease, or who may be likely from exposure to the infection suffer from the disease. The Public Health Minister shall also make decisions to remove to the hospital and provide curative treatment to persons suffering from the disease. Minister Lawrence has the authority to remove, disinfect, and destroy the personal effects, goods, buildings, and any other article, material, or thing exposed to infection from the disease. The document also makes provisions for the Finance, Education, and Citizenship Ministers to take all measures to control and prevent the spread of COVID-19 in Guyana. It encouraged all citizens, residents, tourists, and members of the private sector to act in accordance with the law and to comply with any lawful directives and advisories issued by appropriate government agencies to prevent further transmission of the COVID-19 and ensure the safety and well-being of all. The direction will remain in effect until it is withdrawn by the President. For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
Attorney General Senior Counsel Basil Williams today clarified a misleading and irresponsible article relating to the gazetting of the provisions of the Public Health Ordinance Act, which empowers the Public Health Ministry to take certain measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
The provisions of the Public Health Ordinance, which was gazetted on Tuesday, empowers the Minister of Public Health to move, disinfect, and destroy the personal effects, goods, building, and any other article, material, or thing exposed to infection from the disease. The Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Senior Counsel Basil Williams made it clear that there is no widespread attempt to destroy private property as being purported in an erroneous online news report. The AG made it clear that this is allowed only in the case of an environment being contaminated.
It's a provision under the Public Health Ordinance, and it's not a provision that would be utilized whimsically or capriciously by the minister or any authority. It's a provision that is there in the event that you have people harboring in some building somewhere and they are infected but they come out every now and then from that building to go and mingle and circulate around the place. And the bedding infected, the environment infected. And if that building is in the midst of some neighborhood that has other people living in another dwellings, it might be necessary to deal with it in a manner as provided for under the law.
The Act also speaks to the isolation of persons suffering from or exposed to the disease and empowers the Public Health Minister to remove persons from their homes to a hospital for treatment. According to the Attorney General, the freedoms enjoyed by Guyanese are not absolute, but are subject to exceptions, particularly in cases where the well-being of a nation is threatened.
Somebody can't stay in the home when they are infected and say that, okay, I'm in my home and I will not be removed, etc. Because if the removal of these persons would be in the general interest of the nation and to prevent the spread, then they will have to be removed. And the minister could call on the Minister of Public Security to assist, of course, in these areas.
Conforming with the provisions of Section 20 of the Public Health Ordinance, President David Granger has tasked the Minister of Finance with expending monies from the nation's consolidated fund to carry out the measures that were gazetted. On March 11, 2020, the World Health Organization categorized COVID-19 as a pandemic. Thus far, 5 persons have tested positive for COVID-19 in Guyana. Cinco Thorne, InfoHub.
The following is an important message from the Ministry of Public Health. You can prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus. If you have the following symptoms: coughing, fever, or difficulty breathing, please stay home. If you don't have these symptoms, then practice social distancing. Avoid crowds. When in a group, keep a distance of at least 3 feet between yourself and other persons. Please wash your hands with soap regularly or use hand sanitizers. The Ministry of Public Health has a hotline to provide information on the coronavirus. Members of the public can call 227-4986 or 624-3067.
The injunction preventing the Guyana Elections Commission from conducting the national recount focuses on the body's autonomous standing, and according to the GCOM commissioners, it also highlights several other key issues. Here's more.
Guyana Elections Commissioner Vincent Alexander says the issues emanating from the current electoral process are bigger than that process itself and should not be ignored.
We have serious problems in terms of the plurality of our society, the distrust, the quest for power from various segments, to the ignorance of the real problem and real appreciation of the totality of the Guyanese community, and I think we have to look for a solution in that regard.
Alexander opined that the electoral process was in train up to the point of the injunction. He emphasized that CARICOM has not given up on Guyana. He added that the regional group is available for any intervention if needed. Commissioner Charles Corbin explained that everything is on hold until Friday's High Court hearing.
What I can say to you at this point is that all the consultations we have had and the approaches that we have already made, that where we thought that we were properly covered to proceed with the activity in accordance with pieces of legislation which were identified and the Constitution, we could not get a firm view for support. In fact, it was the view that we could not, in the areas where we identified that we had legal coverage to do it, the view was that those areas that we had identified in the Constitution and in the Representation of the People Act, that it was the view that we could not be properly covered in that.
GCOM will appear in court on Friday, March 20, to respond to an injunction filed on March 17 by a private citizen, preventing it from executing an agreed-upon aide memoire between President David Granger and opposition leader Bart Jagdeo. It requests that CARICOM overlooks the recount of votes cast in this year's general and regional elections. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
When the news returns, Guyanese are being urged to take all precautions against COVID-19 as the Public Health Ministry implements several mechanisms. Details of this story and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Ministry of Public Health is ramping up efforts to keep the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases at a minimum as a fifth person tests positive.
Minister of Public Health, the Honorable Walter Lawrence, today confirmed that another person has tested positive for COVID-19 in Guyana, bringing the number of cases tested positive to 5. The most recent person to have tested positive is a family member of the 52-year-old woman who died from the virus last week.
We are in the process of contact tracing and quarantining the close contacts. Thankfully, our health personnel are working assiduously to contain the spread of COVID-19 and to keep the numbers down.
The Public Health Minister emphasized that the COVID-19 situation in Guyana is currently under control. She said, however, that this does not mean preventative measures and other mechanisms must be forsaken.
We can ill afford to become complacent and in some cases even nonchalant and laid back. The threat is real. It is not discriminatory, and so we must all shoulder our responsibility resolutely and be resilient in our adherence to the precautionary measures that have been established.
Minister Lawrence noted that since the first case of COVID-19 was reported in Wuhan, China, efforts were doubled to combat the virus and have since intensified. Some of the measures include the closure of schools for sanitization, closure of the main airports to international flights, implementation of a shift system for public servants, and a temporary halt of large gatherings, among other measures. For InfoHub, Ayana George.
Let's tell you now that the Ministry of Public Health has implemented mechanisms to prevent the spread of the novel coronavirus or COVID-19.
The Ministry of Public Health has facilitated a quarantine space for infected persons to receive the required treatment. In handling this pandemic, the Minister of Public Health, the Honorable Walter Lawrence, stated that Guyana can expect additional medical supplies in a few days. Minister Lawrence urged Guyanese to take all precautions in efforts to curtail the spread of the coronavirus. Among the preventative measures, the Ministry of Public Health will be launching an app to monitor and evaluate information about the virus. This information will be synced to the headquarters of the Emergency and Urgent Care Facility. In partnership with the Ministry of Communities, the Public Health Ministry will be gathering information from individuals who were screened and recorded temperatures beyond their normal range. Minister Lawrence advised Guyanese to rely on information from dependable sources such as the World Health Organization and the Ministry of Public Health. If you or anyone you know is suffering from flu-like symptoms, call the emergency hotline number at 227-4986 or 624-3067 immediately. For InfoHub, Gavin Lewis.
The Guyana Police Force is notifying the general public that in order to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus, they are discouraging large gatherings and assemblies. Therefore, no application for barbecue permits, fairs, parties, and any other public event will be processed at this time. Regional police commanders across the country are also implementing these preventative measures until further notice.
The following is an important message from the Ministry of Public Health. Getting your workplace ready for COVID-19. Surfaces such as desks, tables, and telephones with keyboards must be wiped with disinfectant regularly, or at least every few hours. Use containers of hand sanitizers and place them in prominent places around the workplace. Provide access to places where staff can wash their hands with soap and water, and promote regular hand washing at the workplace. The Ministry of Public Health has a hotline to provide information on the coronavirus. Members of the public can call 227-4986 or 624-3067.
The management of the Guyana-Suriname ferry service is notifying the general public that the MB Sandaka will be departing Molson Creek tomorrow, Thursday, 19th March 2020 at 9 a.m. Check-in will commence at 6:30 a.m. through 8 a.m. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Suriname has stated that the vessel MB Sandaka will depart Molson Creek tomorrow to South Drain to accommodate Surinamese nationals and residents returning to Suriname, and depart the South Drain to Molson Creek to accommodate Guyanese nationals returning to Guyana. Guyanese are asked to make a special effort to take advantage of this opportunity. Please note, port health officials will be present to screen each passenger. The management of Guyana-Suriname Ferry Service sincerely apologizes for any inconvenience caused at this time. That's all for today. Connect with us on all of our social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Much more news is on our website at dpi.gov.gy. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Goodbye for now.